Welcome to a very, very, very special Tuesday episode on the MMA Engine. I don't have a name for the show because I ain't never done a Tuesday show before. But the reason I'm doing the Tuesday show is because I have an awesome guest that I get to work with. You guys know him. He's DFS legend. As he told me before, master horticulturist. Please don't look the word up. It's flattering. And all around, like, super nice dude. Mr. Jon Kelly, everybody. Jon, how we doing tonight, man?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for the warm welcome there. I appreciate it. And thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate that as well.
Horticulturist, super important. After months of posting about your lawn, I wanted to pay off the joke. And and local high school basketball legend. I forgot.
You got to have that in there. And college, too, for the ones that actually know. But I actually did have to Google horticulturist myself. And spoiler alert on the lawn stuff, this is a plug that only you're getting. Nobody else knows this. The dead spots, the brown grass is actually coming back in some spots. So I have not fully won the war against my lawn. So we might have to hold off on the lawn tout project.
My dad's been dealing with like a slanted backyard for 20 plus years, and he's like, this is gonna be the goddamn year I get this fucking lawn solved. And like, so I hope you solve the problem before him. He's 81, like he's probably, it's now or never. Like, fix it. So let me just give a quick out shout out to chat. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Like, if you could hit the like and subscribe, that's what YouTube tells me I'm supposed to say every episode. That's what Brady tells me I'm supposed to say every episode. So hit the like button, subscribe. We got Monk in the chat. We got Daz, one of our guys. We got Mushroom. I would say MMA Engine, but that was me tweeting it. Chronic Combat Wednesday night, guys. We got Headley One, Thomas Howard, and my guy Brandon, who Angry Ms. Girl, always showing up, and all our guys. Jon, we ready?
Oh, yeah. I've been ready, man. Big card. Excited to chat with you about it. A lot of good spots this week. I'm excited.
And Josh, how you doing, man? We got 12 fights at the end of this episode, time permitting. If anybody has any like quick questions, like let us know. I'll also be announcing a new show that we're going to be doing on the MMA Engine on Saturday, and a host that I can't believe even reached out to me. I think it's awesome. Vic, what's up, my man? Let's get down to it, man. Jon, the people want to know. And you're starting us off with this banger of a fight. JRC against Julia, as quoting Paul Shaughnessy would say, Stolia Stinko. The line right now, JRC, I bet minus 135 last I checked. I will be pulling these up. Jon, what's your take on this one?
Yeah, I think she's actually taken a little bit more depending on what book you're at. I think I saw earlier FanDuel was like, 155, right, something like that on FanDuel. I like the Rose Clark side. I don't know if I'm liking that much juice on her, but I do think she wins here. I think this is a pretty decent buy low spot for her coming off the loss against Stephanie Egger. And listen, I'm not going to fault her too much for that Stephanie Egger fight. Stephanie Egger, I don't rate her super highly, but she is a good grappler and she's very, very physical. So I'll just take that for what it is. A very physically good grappler, got in great position against Rose Clark, who is not good when she's on her back. And the way that Egger submitted her with an armbar, it was from dominant position. It's not the way that Renko goes for an armbar, which is off of her back. 8 of her 9 wins have come by first round submission. So she's basically a submission or bust style fighter. And I honestly just don't think she's going to submit Jessica Rose Clark, who I expect to be in favorable position on top, who has been leaning on her wrestling lately and doing a pretty decent job. We saw it in the Jocelyn Edwards fight, the Sarah Alper fight as well. And obviously, I think Renko is probably a little bit better than both of them. Maybe not Edwards. That one's kind of close. But either way, I expect her to be in dominant position. And if it's like I'm basically only fading an armbar or like a sweaty striking-based decision where JRC could take it to the ground whenever she wants, I think she's the side here.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think I'm getting the betting window here. What I worry about with JRC is she going to be defensively responsible? I mean, the only way she loses this fight, in my opinion, is does she fall into an armbar? At the same time, you're asking me, and there's some steam on Stoliarenko here. You're asking me, do I want to bet somebody who, A, has never won a fight outside of a minute on the regionals, and most of them are in 30 seconds, or B, has done nothing in the UFC to really justify even odds this close? I think we're getting a really good price based on the Egger fight. I don't know that I'm getting the window. Like, honestly, I can only, and if you're going to get on JRC, do it now because the line's only going to go up and up and up and up. Like you see the steam starting to hit. So, JRC or bust for me. I don't like starting with like some kind of chalky play, but here we are, John. Starting off with a chalk start. Well, here's the fight I do have a strong take on. Brad Tavares against Dricius Du Plessis. If I'm saying that right, Dricius. I thought it was Dricius. I could be wrong. I'll start this one off. We talk about moment winners versus minute winners in a lot of different fights, and I get that. The problem is Du Plessis needs one moment to shut your lights off, and I don't think Tavares' striking defense is that great. And maybe there's a little bit of bias because I just love watching Du Plessis fight, but I think he's going to tag him. I think round 2 knockout is the prop I'm going to end up settling on when I get to that point in the week. I'm doing the Lambeau show later in the week. So like, obviously I want to listen to like Brady and I are doing the Narco show. I guess I'll announce that at the end too. But, I always like getting Narco. Narco's like so smart with this stuff. So I like getting his opinions too. But I think it's just a matter of when Du Plessis lands that shot. And if you watch his tape, he just like when he gets that one shot, he's not stupid about like he knows when to swarm. He knows like he doesn't rush in blindly, which is one thing I really like about a dude with power. Like you see so many guys that have power shots that just here's the one and then they become defensively irresponsible. I don't feel like he's like that. And I know Tavares is tough, but he has been knocked out 3 times. And I just think Du Plessis' power is like otherworldly and he's going to find them at some point. John, what do you got?
Yeah, so I'm in the same camp as you. I think Du Plessis, where he's definitely not as technical, probably even not as well-rounded or skilled in general, but he's got the fight-stopping power, and I think that's going to be a problem against Brad Tavares, who doesn't really put a stamp on rounds. Like he basically is low volume on the feet, and while he's nice and technical, he's not super high output. He's not really going to look to proactively grapple either. So it's like, and then on top of that, we have to trust him to be able to avoid the power shots of Du Plessis here, who at the very least we know is just going to come in and swing heavies. So I'm with you. I think he probably knocks him out, to be honest. I would say that Du Plessis, like the line is clearly moving in his favor. I wouldn't lay like super, like once it starts to get above a certain, I think I saw -130, something like that. Like that's where I'd probably just look for a knockout prop or something like that. But I do think he wins here.
Do you see a path for Du Plessis by decision, or is it knockout or bust in his regard? Because his line is about even, but he's plus 175 KO last I looked.
Yeah, I don't think he's fully knockout or bust, but I would say that's like heavily his most likely outcome here. And we've just seen a trend recently of like these older, aging, seasoned veteran fighters that end up losing to guys that are younger and more explosive, more athletic, and just more powerful. We saw it most recently, Jeremiah Wells against Court McGee, knocked him out. We saw it against, who's the young boxer on Contender Series that fought Ameev? Jack Della Maddalena knocked out Ramazan Ameev. We saw it
brutally.
Yeah, brutally. A few months back, it wasn't a knockout, but similar to that, Claudia Puelos against Clay Guida. Like those, we're just seeing it. It definitely seems like a trend to me. And I just see this as being that style of a matchup where it's like everybody is trusting the veteran in a sense, and Brad Tavares to mind his P's and Q's. But I think he gets clipped here and I think he gets dropped.
Shout out to Tim Troiano for betting on BetMGM, throwing a little bit on the Puelos by knee bar at plus 5,000 odds. Like, what a savage. We got Uncle Weezy in the house. Oi! Everybody's favorite Uncle Weezy. All right, John, let's move on to the third fight of the night. Jessica Eye against Macy Barber. You got this one to start off. I feel like what a host I am giving you all these very high-level WMMA fights. Where's Pepe Sanchez? Or Pepe Silvia when we need him to Pepe Sanchez is a wrestler from Chikara 10 years ago. Pepe Silva is the guy that comes on your show and talks women MMA.
Yeah, my guy Pepe. Got to have him on here sometime. Great dude. But yeah, I mean, in terms of this matchup, I don't have a ton here. I think Macy Barber, originally I was like, okay, I expect Macy Barber to win. I don't know if she'll cover her price. And then the more I dug into the matchup, I actually think it could end up being sort of a blowout here, not just in terms of the striking, because I do think while I don't rate Jessica Eye very high, I do think she's a good boxer. That's basically all she has. So if Macy Barber is just going to sit there and play the technical boxing game with her, then I think it'll be competitive. But where I see Macy having the upside is she's just much bigger, much more powerful. She can bully her against the cage. She can mix in the takedowns if she needs to. Jessica Eye only defends at 57% in the UFC. And I just think she's the much more powerful fighter. So if she is losing the striking exchanges, then she just has that wrestling in her back pocket.
Yeah, I'm with you. Initially, I thought this was a lot closer than I thought, and this is going to be one of my favorite split decision and fight to end in split props. The more I looked at it, and I think I still have a sour taste in my mouth from the Barber Maverick fight, where everybody cried outrage except Clint, because Clint was on the Barber side. He's like, well, I think she won 29-28, everybody. And the only thing is Barber, she came in and everybody thought she was this elite finisher, and I'm not seeing her anymore. She's getting more, she's getting smarter in her fight IQ. She's not throwing everything with reckless abandon. The money line is a little tight, but her decision prop is -110. I do feel like out of all the outcomes possible for that fight, that's 50-60% of the time she wins a decision. So if you want to cut that money line down, -110, Jessica Eye doesn't really get finished. And also there's the OnlyFans fade here, which I have to bring up, that this is a real thing, that fighters with OnlyFans just kind of aren't winning a lot. But I think Barber is the future. I think they're setting her up. I think this is a nice name for her to get under her belt, even if Jessica Eye is perhaps in the tail end of her career. And I'm on the decision at -110 as my favorite play for this one. So, but we're moving on to the fourth fight of the night, and this is a banger. Honestly, Uriah Hall against Andre Muniz. I apologize to my guest Jon today. I got him way too excited because I had misread best fight odds. I'm like, under 2.5 -140. Can I lock this in for your show Saturday? If you guys don't know, Jon Kelly does a best bets panel every Saturday at noon Eastern time. It's great. Some of the best minds, and he lets me on, get to do this panel, and it's awesome. It's a really good different perspective from a lot of cappers in the community. I was like, can I just lock this one in? And then I'm like, oh, it's under 1.5. That's -140. Under 2.5 is -350, which no longer seems like a bet I want to make on your show, Jon, because I don't like doing them chalky ones. Under 2.5. All right. I think the books might have mislined it, man. I'm telling you right now. Thomas Howard's saying he got under, so maybe I didn't see it crazy. Maybe we missed out on this one, Jon.
I mean, I'm about to look right now.
I would say if you can get under 2.5 -150,
I mean, that's potential max bet scenario.
Thomas Howard saying he's got it on Bovada.
Yeah, I'm seeing 350 5 dimes in Betway, and I don't see it anywhere else. But
Thomas,
I mean, if you can get -150 on that, that's back up the Brinks truck probably.
So the pick for me here is, I'm not a hedge guy, but I'm just going to give you a strategy for this. So I like Muniz sub. I think he gets it done around 1. I love his skills. I think this is a bad matchup for Hall in terms of what Muniz brings to the grappling and submission game. I love the time props here, but what I will say is this. If this fight starts round 2 and you can get anything better than +250 on Hall, it's worth a poke live, because Muniz has gassed before. He has been knocked out before. Could Hall win a decision? I think he could. I think Hall could out-volume him round 2 and round 3 if Muniz is hurt or is tired. But I also think Hall can get him out of there one shot. So I'm on them, but the primary play for me is Muniz sub, and I will be playing Muniz sub round 1. I just like his skills that much. Jon, where are you at on this one?
Yeah, dude. I mean, Uriah Hall's never been submitted, but I just think Muniz is just a different level on the mat. And, he's going to go for takedowns. He averages around 3 per 15 minutes. Uriah Hall is a guy who we know can be taken down. We know he can be controlled. And Muniz might only need 1 takedown here. And to your point, he basically submits you early or completely gasses out and ends up getting knocked out himself. He's been finishing all 3 of his career losses, all by knockout. So I'm with you guys. I think this one definitely ends early. I favor the Muniz side pretty drastically, but if he doesn't, for whatever reason, get that early sub, then obviously Hall's live for the comeback knockout.
I think it seems like a pretty binary fight in terms of how it plays. I mean, look, and I'm not discounting Hall knocking him out round 1 if he lands a shot, but he's kind of a slow starter.
Yeah.
I mean, except for the Weidman fight where he had the brilliant game plan of do nothing and let the dude break his leg, and get you the fast finish bonus. Did you play him that day?
So I'm a scumbag, and I actually cashed a pretty big bet on Uriah Hall there. That was like a heavily debated one. A lot of people were on Chris Weidman there. I liked Uriah Hall, and obviously I kind of sucked out. Who knows how it would have played out, if they ended up fighting for real. But a win's a win, I guess, right?
I had him in my DraftKings lineup, and I had like a huge bet on him in the distance, and it was so gross to watch it.
Yeah, it was nasty.
But it took me like 2 minutes to realize like, oh shit, I just won money. And then I wondered, is 2 minutes make me a better human being that I wasn't immediately circling my betting sheet?
No.
Or no, it doesn't. I'm like, oh no. And our buddy wasn't watching the fights list that usually does. He was like at the Poconos, like the cabin I go to sometimes. And he's texting us like, how are the fights? And I'm like, so you're gonna have to look this one up. He's like, nope.
Yeah,
never.
Don't even watch
never
it.
Need to look that
nasty. But shout out to Weidman though. He's making a good recovery.
He should not recover.
I mean, I don't think he should fight again, but shout out to him for quick recovery.
Fellow Long Island boy, but all right. Well, here's a fight that I've tried to bet on your show several times, or a fighter I've tried to bet. Donald Cowboy Cerrone against Jim Miller 2. The first one was 8 years ago. Cerrone got him out of there. Very different era, very different time. Cerrone's had some cancellations. This one's at 170, though. I don't think there will be a weight issue on his regard. Go ahead, John. Tell the people what you got on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I wanna back Jim Miller here, but the price, I mean, nobody's backing Jim Miller at minus 200 or north of minus 200, even against Donald Cerrone here. I do think Don Cerrone is probably a bit more shot than Jim Miller is, and Miller, to his credit, we know he's going to start out fast, and that's what we liked about Joe Lozon in that matchup is he's going to be live to get Cerrone out of there early. I think Miller's the same way. And Cerrone really has to avoid getting knocked out and then potentially take over as the fight goes on. But I don't even think Jim Miller's dead in round 2. He can bank the first 2 rounds if it were to get extended, which I don't think it does. But it's that's not even a lock for Cerrone, and that would be the best outcome for him. So I think Jim Miller, he's been showing off the hands recently, known more for his dangerous grappling. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, has 18 career submissions. But it's been the hands lately. He's off back-to-back knockouts, and I think he gets a third here against Donald Cerrone, who's been knocked out, by the way, in 5 of his last 6 losses, with all of them being in the first round.
So I was going to give analysis, but Evan Dolan just kind of took the words out of my mouth. I think this is the exact same dynamic. I think there's a very clear way to beat Cerrone at this point in his career. Weezy's talking last night on Pub Sports. He doesn't know Cerrone personally. He's trying to take the narratives out of it. Is Cerrone washed? Is he here for a paycheck? I just think Miller is not washed. I mean, I don't think Miller is a washed fighter. I think Miller is what he is at this stage of his career. And I think this will not go to the ground at all. I don't think Cerrone is interested in even taking it to the ground. And Cerrone is this slow starter right now and susceptible to just getting whaled in the first. And I think that's what Miller's going to do. I think Miller's going to tag him. He's going to tag him early, tag him often. My pick is Miller in the distance. It's plus 105. There, to your point, there's no way you lay the money line here. I mean, his winning.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I mean, if this thing gets to the third round, no matter what side you're on, you're probably terrified. You're probably what's going to happen in a third round with these two? But I just think Miller is better conditioned. I think he's healthier. I think he has every advantage right now. And if this thing does hit the ground, does Cerrone Cerrone's takedown defense in his career? I think it's 90%. It's insane. But that's including a lot of his WEC fights where he's fighting guys that when Cerrone was in his prime run. I mean, Miller is just, if Miller wants to take him down at some point late in the first round, early in the second, I think he can. I don't think he will. I think he'll keep this on the feet. And outside of a Cerrone head kick, I just don't see how this doesn't end violently for Miller. I know some genius thinks Cerrone by decision is a good bet, but I'll address that Thursday on the bet elevator when that's a topic of debate. But all right, John, let's move on. And this is a fight that I know you and I have some very interesting opinions on. Ian Gary against Gabe Green. I will start this one off to give you the genius here. I'm on the Gabe Green side. I'm not impressed with Ian Gary at all. He leaves his chin too high. I wasn't impressed with his debut. He was getting tagged. I wasn't impressed with the Darian Weeks fight either. He was kind of fighting Darian Weeks' fight. There's a lot of grinding against the cage, not a lot of damage. If Weeks would have done anything, thrown any boxing, allegedly Darian Weeks is a great boxer, but I've yet to see it. Gabe Green's going to put a pace on him, and I am curious to see how Gary responds to that pace in the second and third round. I have a play on Green. I will be playing Green in the distance, and I will be playing Green round 3 as my favorite prop. I think it's plus 1,400 last I looked. I think the Green KO is plus 2,300. I just think Green is going to wear him out and give him energy he has never seen before. Weezy was talking about the grappling, and with Ian Gary, I believe I've watched this tape. I've seen a little bit of it. I don't know that Gary has an advantage on the ground. Like, I think Gabe Green's just kind of better everywhere, and it's tough, and his cardio is a weapon, and I think he's going to use it. I know you're on the Gary side, but I know you're not heavy on the Gary side.
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly not betting Ian Gary. He was a potential fade candidate coming into the UFC, in my opinion, and he really hasn't shown me a ton to really change that opinion. I'm not convinced that Gabriel Green is the guy, but I mean, I don't hate the dog shot either. I think both of these guys are defensively irresponsible. You know, we've seen Ian Gary, while he's got good offensive striking, his defense is just non-existent. You know, he's one of those guys that relies just on his head movement, and it's like, whoever he fights, it's like anything they throw almost can't miss. We've seen him eat some pretty big shots against low-level competition here. So I wouldn't be surprised if Gabriel Green has some success on the feet as well. And to your point, I wouldn't favor Gary in terms of the grappling. I don't think his grappling is very good at all. Gabriel Green, not that he's like some stellar grappler, but he is a brown belt, I believe. You know, he does have a little bit of wrestling. But I do expect this to be a striking match. Both guys are going to stand and trade. Both guys extremely hittable. I just think Ian Gary's probably a little bit faster to the punch and a little bit more powerful. So I tend to lean with him, but I mean, I'm probably going to be rooting for Green or just root for an early Gary knockout. And then we can look to fade him with somebody a little bit better than Gabe Green here.
So John, it took 6 fights for Yam Bags to come up in the chat. I just wanted to let you know, typically Yam Bags are already like immediately a thing. So let me ask you a question. 2 questions about this fight before we move on. What's your, I know you like to save this for your stuff. What's your DraftKings exposure going to be? Are you going to have any Gary? Are you going to have a little bit of Green? I feel like, I don't know, Green's got to be like worth something here, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I don't know how many lineups I'm going to make yet this week. I do have a wedding to attend on Saturday, so I don't know how much
on a pay-per-view. How dare them,
dude? I know. I'm pretty disgusted over it, to be honest, because the card is so stacked. I just confirmed with my wife though. I think we might be able to get out of there before the main card. So we'll see. If not, I'm going to be one of those losers with it up on my phone, sitting in the corner by myself, sipping a beer, while the happy couple dances around. No, it should be a good time. But regardless, I don't know how many lineups I'm going to be playing, but I would, across 10, 20 lineups, I would definitely get exposure to this fight. Probably, I'd probably hedge it pretty evenly, I'd say, just because I do think both guys kind of have finishing upside. Neither Gary's obviously more expensive, but probably be like six Green, 4 Gary across like 20 lineups, something like that.
Last question about this fight before we move on. What number would you need to bet Green here? Right now it's plus 140. At what price point do you think it becomes bettable for you? For me, it's already bettable, but for you,
I would need like a 175, 180 to be honest. And that's what I was like kind of expecting to get here. So when I break down fights, I don't look at the odds first. I'll dig into the matchup, watch tape, do all that stuff. And then I'll look at the odds. And then, sometimes it's like, okay, that's about where I'd price it. Other times, like this time, I was expecting Gabe Green to be like a bigger number here where I'd have interest, but we're paying for his upside, I think, at like plus 140.
People have spoken, John. MMA greater than letting.
It is a close friend of me and my wife, so not getting out of that one.
All right. That's fair. All right, moving on. You're on this one to start, John. We got Brad Riddell against Jalen Turner. This is another one that is I expected kind of the community to be a little 50-50 on this one. I am surprised that so many people are on the Turner side. What do you got on this one?
Yeah, so I actually know a lot of people on the Brad Riddell side, so I do think it's actually pretty split here. And I could see this one being where it's like all the sharps per se are on Brad Riddell and all the sharps lose on Brad Riddell. I'm on the Jalen Turner side. And I just think like I respect the hell out of Brad Riddell. Obviously one of the better strikers in the division. Had a great fight with Drew Dober, more recently against Rafael Fiziev. Lost that fight in the third round, got knocked out, was dropped by Drew Dober. Drew Dober turned this guy into a wrestler within like 30 seconds or whatever. So it's like, I don't know if I trust the durability as much as I trust the durability of Jalen Turner. And Turner's just physically a freak, dude. He's going to be way taller, way bigger, way stronger, and super powerful. Like I really think this is a very bad matchup for Brad Riddell. And I like the Jalen Turner side. I think he has pretty much all the upside. What I'm worried about in backing Jalen Turner is that in those close pocket exchanges when they're fighting in the phone booth, one thing that Brad Riddell is very good at is remaining calm and looking for that big, powerful counter hook shot. And that's wide open against Jalen Turner. We saw Uros Medic hit him once with that. Jamie Malarkey, I think, tagged him a few times as well. So it's not like he's invincible here, but outside of Riddell being able to really hurt him in one of those exchanges, I do think Turner is the side. And I think potentially Turner could out-grapple this dude. I have Turner by submission at plus 700. I haven't bet it yet, but that seems like a pretty decent look for me. He's been working on his grappling. His grappling was not that great coming into the UFC, but we've seen fight to fight, this guy is improving. He's super big, super powerful, and it's like, constantly switching stances. He's got the knees, the elbows. There's so many different ways that he can come and get you. And it's like Brad Riddell, if he's going to sit and play the technical striking game, like, yeah, of course he'd probably lose a striking match to Riddell, but I think Riddell's going to have problems timing those counters because he just has so much to worry about with Jalen Turner.
So let's talk about Riddell's shitty tattoo to start. I can't back this guy.
Is that new?
I mean, I thought it was like Tapology just having fun with me, but like,
I've never seen that before.
But it's awful. It's awful. And like in my manifesto of how I bet, like, so I have my list. Like number 1 is, are you Brock Lesnar? No. All right. Like number 2, number 3, and bad tattoos are like right under awesome chest hair for how I handicap a fight. So immediately he's at a disadvantage here. So for reals, I like Jalen Turner. I feel like he's leveling up every fight. Like he's becoming, I don't want to say he's a late bloomer. I feel like he needed to go through some travails to start leveling up. I like what I see from him in the grappling realm. You have him by sub, and this is the big thing I love about him in his fight, is that I feel like he's definitely, I think, the more powerful guy in the feet. I don't know if he's a more technical guy, and to your point, he does make some defensive mistakes. But I feel like with Turner, if it's not going his way on the feet, he drags him down to the ground and just has his way with him. I'm on the Turner side. I'm on Turner in the distance, but I want to make this clear that the side for me is the Turner without a prop, because I do think Riddell is tough. And I do think if this becomes a point where Turner says, I have to get this to the ground because it's so 50-50 on the feet, that he may just wrestle him for the second and third rounds of this fight. I don't know that he submits him, but I think he has a clear-cut path to victory on the ground if he wants to take that. If you're giving me a guy that I think is 50-50 on the feet and like 100-0 on the ground at minus 130, I'll take him. And I already put a bet on him yesterday. He's one of the few bets I already have locked in. Is the Turner side. So
love it.
I'll be on in the distance when the prop drops. I'm kind of digging your sub prop, John. Kind of digging your sub prop here.
I mean, just a little sprinkle. Just a little sprinkle.
Like oregano. Come on, man. Italian. Here we go. Now, Legends fight. Legends fight. Other than crazy enough that this is on after Cerrone versus Miller. Lawler not to be confused with Jerry the King Lawler, of course, against Brian Barberena. I will start this one off. I am not betting this fight. I am going to sit back and watch. This is have a couple of beers, enjoy the fight. What I will say is this line movement is banana land to me. Like, I don't understand how Lawler opens his, like, Lawler has gotten so much steam. I don't know if it was because he was the dog, but they're both kind of, I don't want to like insult them and say they're shot fighters, but they're shot fighters. I mean, and like, if you look at like, I forget who posted this the other day that said, like their last 5 fights. And like, obviously Lawler's strength of schedule, the last 5 is way better than Barberena's. But Barberena, I think it was Evan. I don't know how to say his name right. He's your boy.
I just say Evan, but there is a lot of A's in there. Too many to count.
Another Philly guy. So Barberena is like 3-2 in his last couple of fights. The Witt fight was really interesting to me because Witt executed a perfect game plan, just took him down, avoided anything, and then still almost got bonked in the 3rd. So Barberena's conditioning, like, I mean, his skill set's kind of what it is, but his conditioning is all right. And Lawler, like, I don't know. I don't know if I trust Lawler late in the fight, but I can't bet this. Like, and I feel like if I had to bet it, it's going to be a weird respect war of attrition that goes the distance and leaves everybody really disappointed that it went the distance. But I can't get to the window on this one. I lean Barberena because he's more active and he's younger, but I can't get to the window here. Like, it's like they say, man, the bookies have to set lines. We ain't got to bet them. so I ain't on this one. Do you have a strong take betting wise on this?
I don't. My strong take would be that I'm not laying chalk on this version of Robbie Lawler in the year of our Lord 2022. I just think that, like, I mean, that last fight against Nick Diaz was an embarrassment on both sides, to be honest. Like, it just, I mean, watching that fight and then rewatching it, like, how can you put money on Robbie Lawler as a favorite? And then it's like, well, if we're trying to fade him, look at Brian Barberena. I mean, this dude gets hurt in every single one of his fights, much younger, but in terms of his body, he might be older. Like, he's had multiple serious like back surgeries. You know, he's been knocked out. You know, this is a guy that made a living on being super durable and going to war and not getting hurt. And now we see him get dropped and hurt in all of his fights. You know, he lost to Jason Witt. So it's like, you can't put much confidence on the Barberena side. I do favor him in terms of if it goes the full 15 minutes, but I mean, I'm not getting involved in this fight like whatsoever. There's no way.
This becomes another one of those, like, do you just bet this fight to end in split decision where everybody's miserable? But like, honestly, I'm with you. I don't know how you get to the window here. I mean, I see you guys in chat. And by the way, we got like 50 people watching. Thank you guys so much. Spend your Tuesday nights with Jon Kelly and myself. Like, we really do appreciate it. I don't know how you get to the window here. I think, honestly, we're old school fans. Like, just have fun with this one, you know, like, just watch the legends and like they're on their way out and just enjoy it. He gets hurt.
The last fight was Matt Brown, right? Brown rocked him once. He got hurt even twice.
He got hurt a ton. And like, I mean, I didn't think he won that fight, to be honest. I thought he won. I bet Matt Brown, and I was hoping for, like, you know, I was hoping it would go my way, the little hometown narrative, but I knew he lost the fight going into the decision, unfortunately. All right, well, let's get off the Legends fight, and now we are firmly entrenched in the main cards. This Lawler got moved up. Pedro Munoz against Sean O'Malley. John, what do you got on this one from a betting perspective? I think most people seem to be on the O'Malley side, period. But how are you betting it if you are?
Yeah, so I'm leaning towards, and I haven't done this in a while, my record with Juice Boy parlays is actually very strong. And I'm considering a nice Juice Boy parlay that has Sean O'Malley. It's the sugar show here. I mean, Pedro Munoz, as good as he is in terms of the leg kicks, that's really probably his only path to victory here, is to be able to hurt the legs of Sean O'Malley. I do think he'll have success with the leg kicks, but outside of that, he's not going to be able to match the volume, the output of Sean O'Malley. O'Malley's footwork is much better. He's much faster, going to beat him to the punch. We've seen Munoz get outlanded multiple times now in a row. Most recently, didn't Dominic Cruz, I think, outstruck him for the majority of that fight?
Yeah, he did.
I don't think he's going to be able to keep pace with Sean O'Malley here. I think Sean O'Malley wins, but I also don't think he's getting knocked out because Pedro Munoz's chin is like otherworldly. The dude's never been knocked out in his career. I don't think Sean O'Malley does it. I think Sean O'Malley puts up a lot of volume on him, but I think it goes to a decision, 30-27, Sugar.
O'Malley decision is plus 200 on FanDuel right now, and I love it. I think that
I didn't see that. I'm going to bet that. So thank you.
You're very welcome, John. That's why I'm here. For me, it's very simple. Like you just brought up the Munoz. Like I don't have much to add to your analysis. Munoz has to come with it. Like that 10-inch reach is such a big advantage here. And I just imagine that every time Munoz tries close distance to go for leg kicks, he's going to get jabbed to death. He's going to get jabbed. He's going to get jabbed. He's going to get jabbed. And you're saying 30-27. I can't argue that. Like, I can't see how, and like O'Malley has shown his cardio is pretty good, man. I mean, he didn't get sick and tired of hitting Matinho in the face. And he hit him a ton.
He landed a couple
900 strikes. What was his DraftKings score that night?
Like, I mean, it was up there. Like I don't remember.
But it was like 150 or like, I mean.
Yeah, it was up there.
Have you ever seen such a high score from a dude other than like Holloway against, like Cater in a 3-round fight? Have you ever seen such a high score from a dude just throwing strikes? Like no takedowns, no control time. Like just strikes.
It's pretty rare. I mean, the only other one I'd say, the Colby Usman, the first fight was up there. It wasn't as much though. That was more so Colby. He lost, I think, and still put up like 70 DraftKings points from the volume. And then obviously the Joanna Wiley Zhang, that one was way up there too. But I mean, that was 5.
I realize like you can't count Munoz out. Like his strength of schedule is insane. Like he's fought everybody in the division. But this is just a whole different kind of stylistic challenge for him. And like, I just don't see how we get, like O'Malley's lost one fight and it involved leg kicks. Like, so, like our jobs is just to like use the information that we have. Like, so, okay, if O'Malley's susceptible to leg kicks, can Munoz get in there? Like, can he really like execute that? I don't think he can get past the reach. The real question comes, I know some people are taking the O'Malley like walk-off KO. I don't know, man. I just don't think Munoz just seems like he's tough and like, and he's not sustained an insane amount of damage in his career. Like this isn't a dude who's been like wearing it every single fight. So interesting fight for me to see if Munoz can get the leg kicks. I will tell you this right now. If Munoz can land like 7-8 power leg kicks in the first round, at the very least, take a look at the live odds. At the very least, it's worth looking. If he has no success, like your pre-flop bet was correct, but but anyway, let's move on to a very hotly debated fight in the community. Sean Strickland against Alex Pereira. I guess I'm leading this one off. So, I'm not one for, I try to stick to just the fights when I break these down, John. I really do. I can't say I like half the things that Strickland says online. There's a reason he's getting banned from like everybody's. And I see this Strickland by sub. Like, yeah, I mean, okay. Like, I see a lot of people saying this. Here's my question for you guys. When did he become Kurt Angle? When did he become some legendary submission grappler? If you guys want to bet that prop, it's your money, man. Have at it. It's hard for me to bet a guy with like his skill set and the way he fights. So if you guys want to bet a sub and like maybe this is your like the thing you can pin to your Twitter accounts and be geniuses for 3 months, have at it. Or, like bet your money correctly and appropriately. This is probably going to be a striking fight. Strickland does have a path to get him to the ground. I don't know why people are assuming he's going to be a D1 grappler here. He's not. But can Strickland make it ugly and press him against the cage and get like a dirty boxing fight out of Pereira? I think he can. Pereira showed a lot of respect to to Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva is a power shot guy. I don't think he's a great technical boxer. I think Bruno Silva is a power shot guy. I think Strickland is an entirely different challenge. And I think Strickland's boxing is pretty damn good, to be honest. I'm not saying he's the better boxer here, but I think he can be competitive. And I think Strickland can bully him. He can push him against the cage. He can make this an ugly, ugly fight and just control it. Can Strickland steal a couple of rounds here, just kind of pressing him against the cage? He can. Can Strickland go for takedowns if he needs to? Maybe. I think he can, but like, has he shown that he like really wants to execute that game plan? No. And I don't make bets based on like maybe this guy one day could do something. I have to go on the body of work. I think Strickland can hang in there. What's most notable to me is that this line, from the way they talk, you'd think Pereira would be minus 250, that they're building him up. But so why is this line so close, John? Tell me. Tell me why this line is so close. I'm on the Strickland side because my gut says there's a reason this line is way off what I think it should be.
So I think Sean Strickland should be the favorite. So I'll start off with that. You said he's not going to wrestle here. I disagree. Sean Strickland is coming out in a singlet on Saturday, for those that don't know, and he's landed multiple takedowns. Andreas Michailidis was able to take this dude down twice, arguably won that first round before getting dropped with the big knee there. Obviously, to your point, I think Sean Strickland's one of the better boxers in the division. Is he going to outstruck Pereira over 15 minutes? Absolutely not. Pereira, high-level kickboxer, former Glory kickboxing world champion. If he gets stuck at range and has to just get kicked to death for 15 minutes, he's not going to win that fight. But to your point, he could be competitive in the striking if he moves forward, if he rolls with the punches, something he's very good at doing, avoid the leg power shots, muscle him against the cage, take him down. He's a much better grappler. This dude, he can't get off the fence. Michailidis held him up against the fence the entire first round until Dan Mergliotti pulled him off of him. And that was after like 4 minutes. The dude doesn't know how to get off the fence. Look, over the course of his career, he doesn't know how to grapple. Take this dude down, like that might be a round. So Sean Strickland, yes, he's not the highest fight IQ guy, you know, standing there against Jack Marshman saying, come on, I'll give you a chance to beat me, Jack. Come on, Jack, let's swing for it, Jack. Like, obviously the dude's not smart, but like he would have to be like, to use Magic MMA's term, he'd have to be 70 IQ to not go for takedowns in this spot. So I think he does it. There's a lot of buzz coming out of that camp that he is coming out in a singlet on Saturday and implementing that wrestling. If he does that, I think he has upside to look like a sizable favorite in this matchup. So I'll be betting Sean Strickland. I haven't bet him yet because there's a lot of Pereira love out there. I'm just not ready to say that this dude is a future champ in the middleweight division.
Yeah, and let me just address chat. Like, you know, like people forget that Strickland originally is a grappler. But originally being a grappler doesn't mean you are a grappler. Like, now we're talking that there is a very clear path to victory here. But like, this is a problem when you handicap fights. Just because there is a clear path doesn't mean it's going to doesn't mean they're going to do it. You know, like, and Strickland is one of these dudes. Look, man, let's say this fight's 1-1 in the third, which I think is very realistic. Is Strickland the kind of human being that could be like, I'm going out there to prove a point and I'm going to outbox him and to do something stupid? Yeah, he is. Like, so it's tentative. Like, does Strickland have a clearer path than Pereira? I do believe so. Would I like to see him wrestle? Yeah, absolutely. And maybe pull Pereira into deep water. But like, until we really see a guy execute these game plans and fight with like brilliant fight IQ, we're just making guesses here, you know? To me, the line is so weird with the way they hype Pereira.
Like, I think that's why the line is where it's at, to be honest, because I think it's a lot of respect for a guy that only has, 6 MMA fights? Like, yes, he has the high-level striking background, but guess what? So does Giga Chikadze, and we saw Calvin Kattar, not known for his wrestling, able to easily implement the wrestling. I think Sean Strickland, who, yes, he's not historically a huge wrestler, but like I said, landed 4 against Uriah Hall, took Brendan Allen down once as well. And going back to his career, yes, some of those fights were at 170, but he does implement the grappling at times. So the only real concern I have is the size, because Alex Pereira is going to be much bigger. He's very, very powerful, and he's got a lot of tools, obviously in terms of the striking. So if Sean Strickland could avoid getting hurt on the feet, Pereira, the other thing is, like, he's not a high volume guy, and he doesn't have a great gas tank, in my opinion. So I don't know, man. I like Sean Strickland quite a bit here.
All right, Billy, I'm going to have to check with my boys to confirm this story. I'm not saying I know a guy. I'm just saying I know a guy that knows a guy. So I'll have to check into that narrative a little bit. But let's move on to the co-main events. Oh, boy. Number 3, Volk Holloway. John, this should be the main event, in my opinion. Just one man's opinion. This is definitely the fight I'm most excited to watch on the card. Tell me what you think here. Are we getting 3 out of 3 for Volk?
I think so, man. Like, honestly, like, I love Max Holloway. I bet Max Holloway, I think both times, I want to say. I'm almost positive I bet him in the first and second fight. A lot of people thought the second fight was a robbery. I didn't think so. I thought Volkanovski, close fight, great fight, but I thought Volkanovski won. And I think he wins here. I think, Holloway, obviously one of the best boxers the UFC has ever seen, better boxer than Volkanovski, but he's got to be able to deal with those leg kicks. And that is a very clear game plan for Volkanovski. That's a clear game plan in all of his fights, but especially against Max Holloway. He will throw those calf kicks nonstop. And when he starts to hurt the lead leg of Max Holloway and Holloway has to switch to southpaw, that's where Volkanovski has a lot more success in terms of the hands. Once he's able to change Holloway, what Holloway wants to do, he's much more comfortable orthodox. Once he has to change that, I think he's kind of in trouble. And then obviously Volkanovski can implement the wrestling here. We saw that, I think, in both fights, but especially in the second one, landed a takedown or two there. I think he wrestles quite a bit more here, honestly, just because I do think that is probably the easiest path to victory if he can get Max down, which I think he'll struggle to do early. But as the fight goes on, I think it's pretty clear Volkanovski is going to be able to get his hand raised here.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Volk side. I'm going to go so bold as to say Volk knocks him out, plus 350 odds. I think that we're seeing just 2 elements to this prediction. One is I didn't like how many times Holloway has gotten hit by Yair in that fight. Holloway, Holloway doesn't spar anymore, right? Like, everything's virtual with him. I get that, like, he's established. I get that he's tough, but, like, I mean, look, man, sometimes old school methods are the best. And, like, I think there's something to be said for really getting in there physically and doing this. And Volkanovski, I think, just gets better every fight. Like, he's still improving. Like, I don't know that Holloway's improving every fight. Volkanovski's still improving. This guy is becoming just like the GOAT. Like, I think his talent is, like, I don't even know what his potential is. And I think this is important for Volkanovski's legacy. I think he needs to put a stamp on this rivalry once and for all. I think he has the power to get Holloway out of there. It's not that he's a one-shot guy, but it's like what he did to Korean Zombie. I mean, I think he can volume knock him out. I really do, which is ironic because that's how Holloway gets a lot of finishes. I think Volkanovski can pour it on. If he does take him down, I think he can ground the pound him. I think he's got a lot of ways to win this fight. I think Volkanovski late KO is the way I'm going to, like, I might take a poke on, like, round 4, round 5 props, but I think Volkanovski definitively beats him and then moves up. That's my prediction for this. He's going to get him out of there and he's going to leave the division.
I don't hate it. And I mentioned the possible Juice Boy parlay with Sean O'Malley, Volkanovski, another piece of that right there.
And he's minus 180. I mean, it's not even like
it's not even that. I mean, this is like pretty much what it closed at last time, I want to say, because I bet Max Holloway at like plus 154 or something in the second fight. So it was right around the same odds.
It's really nice having fans that come in for some of these things, man. It's great. Well, let's move on to the main event, John. Guys, by the way, still 50 people watching live. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like, please like and subscribe before I let John promote literally everything he's doing right now in life, because John's got a lot going on. Israel Adesanya against Cannonier. I will start this one off and just leave you with the real analysis here. I don't know how you back Cannonier here, to be honest. Adesanya, obviously, like minus 360 is unbackable as a straight bet. So you got to get creative. All these main events are going decision. It's really tough to bet a guy by decision in a main event as a fight fan, because your butthole's puckered for 25 minutes, just like hoping nobody gets dropped. But like, are we in this era with Adesanya now? Where like, I mean, Cannonier's chinny for sure, but like, are we in this era with Adesanya where he's just kind of going in that like GSP Silva era, where like they win the first 3 rounds, they're just kind of content not to get beat? I kind of feel like Adesanya is at that point right now, and I don't know how Cannonier is going to land a shot on him. Adesanya's going to be way too fast, just way too fast for him. And Adesanya by decision seems like the play, but I guess, if you're going to bet Cannonier, I don't see a path where he wins by decision, but to me, it's Adesanya decision. If you like the KO, it's probably coming late, but I'm on the Adesanya side. I will say this. There's a reason Adesanya's been calling him out for like over a year. He's been saying since I think it was since the Costa fight. He's like, well, if Jared Cannonier wins, like he's deserving of the title shot. I don't think that's by accident. I think Adesanya feels this is probably the most favorable matchup he had available. But what do you think, John?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly is a pretty favorable matchup for him here. I don't think he had a choice after Cannonier knocked out Derek Brunson right before Izzy fought on the same card back in February. I think it was UFC 271. So, I mean, same division, you're the next guy up, and you get a statement finish like that, you have to be next for the title shot. So credit to Cannonier. He's been on a nice little run here, but to your point, like, I think he's knockout or bust here, and I don't think he finds the knockout. So I wish I had like a lot of high level analysis and stuff to add there. But to be honest, I just think Adesanya is just levels better in terms of the striking. And I think he's going to respect the power of Cannonier. And we've seen multiple times when Izzy respects the power of his opponents, he's much less aggressive. So I actually think this is going to be kind of a snooze in terms of the main event. I think we're going to get our juices from the early prelim when JRC lays on Renko for 15 minutes. We're going to get our juices flowing there. They're going to stay high. The vibes are going to stay high all the way through the co-main in Volkanovski. And then by the time the main event rolls around, Izzy's probably going to put us all to sleep.
Well, I mean, I put this comment up there. I mean, if he wins by sub, I guess I'll eat my shoe. I don't see a submission.
I think it's like 20-1. So, I mean, I'm not going to bet it, but
no, because
those are pretty big odds for somebody that constantly says like, hey, I'm going to show off my grappling one of these days.
I know. And I work with a guy on Thursdays who's going to be like 20-1. Like, I don't care. I'm betting it. And like, no.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to bet it for what it's worth. But if you said you're going on Lambo plays, like, I mean, you could do worse than 20-1 sprinkle on Adesanya, who a guy against Cannonier, this might be a spot where he's like, I don't respect this guy's grappling. Maybe I can mess around on the mat a little bit and show what I've been working on. So you never know.
John, let's see how many beers I have before I give away Izzy sub on Friday night. All
right. I say over under 4.5
beers.
Yeah, before you give away the Izzy sub.
Well, let's say it's about a 2-hour show. Yeah, take the over.
Over. All right.
Oh, absolutely.
I didn't know how early you're going to give it out.
I'm saying let's take the over on beers. Oh, for sure. Like,
all right.
2-hour show. I could. I'm a vet. I'm a vet drinker. I do 5 beers, no problem.
I'm washed. I can't these days.
Look, we can't all be 44-year-old Lou with his drinking savvy at this point in his old man career. Anyway, we have reached the end of the card. I want to thank Jon Kelly so much. We got 50 people still live in chat. Thank you guys for spending your Tuesday. John, please tell the people where to find you and tell them everything they should be following so they can do it blindly right now.
Yeah, for sure. So first of all, thank you again, Lou, for having me on. Had a great time talking fights with you as always. We get to chat a lot on my Saturday show, the Best Bets Roundtable, every Saturday at noon at Jon Kelly DFS on YouTube.
Who's your leader? Who has the longest streak on your show right now, by the way?
So it was Zaid or Vegas Z, as you guys might know him as. But
was it? Who is now?
He lost this past weekend. So did Evan, I believe. And so it is now Lou, who currently has, is it 6 in a row?
God, and it's 9 weeks without a loss, but it's 6 in a row.
6 in a row.
Because I had a fight canceled, and you didn't. I had the Cerrone fight canceled. The two shows didn't work, but we're calling it in my head. I'm 9 weeks undefeated, and I'm going. And I never give you chalk, by the way, right? It's always like
yeah. I mean,
your...
pretty much nobody gives chalk, at least not heavy chalk on that show. But yeah, check it out. I mean, everything I do is completely free. I do a normal DraftKings breakdown, betting breakdown on my YouTube as well, Jon Kelly DFS. That'll be out tomorrow. Try to keep it short and concise, which I've heard that a lot of people enjoy. So it's usually about, anywhere from 20 to 25 minutes, every fight card, full predictions, betting leans, DraftKings analysis, along with my website, fightnumbers.com, where I have free resources and tools for MMA DFS players and sports bettors, fightnumbers.com. Everything's linked on my Twitter at Jon Kelly DFS. You can follow me there. As always, Lou, appreciate you having me on, and best of luck to everybody on Saturday.
And so John is also got a good spirit because he's a ball buster like I am, and he gives it as good as he takes it. Like, if he's gonna post something about his high school basketball picture, he knew like we were coming for him. And as soon as I post Jon Kelly's gonna be on, it's like, you don't mean like high school basketball legend Jon Kelly? And I'm like, of course.
So those are always the best comments.
So I just want to end the show with this. John, as always, like, dude, like, you're helping me level up in my life, man. Like, I'm so honored that John spent time with me. I'm so appreciative. I just want you guys to know, programming note for tonight and then for Saturday, real quick. So Uncle Weezy doing his balls deep breakdown at 11 o'clock Eastern on his channel. Get all his best bets. He's in his smoking jacket. He's got his Paloma. But Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern time, I'm debuting a new show on the MMA Engine. The new show is just late line movement, 4 or 5 best bets with my co-hosts, I'm announcing in a second. Chat, like, ask us any questions you want, and really just 2 dudes that love fights having a good time. My co-host is in the chat right now, and I believe that's who it is. Billy Briz and Lou gonna be doing a show every Saturday afternoon, giving you guys everything you need, last minute betting. But more importantly, me and him are going to have a lot of fucking fun doing this. And I'm so excited that Billy and I are doing this show. You've no idea. By the way, Billy, I'm only giving you like credit for your Oldberg pick for 1 week, and then me and you moving on. And you got to get a whole new pick to have credit for. By the way, I was on the Tafan side. I feel like such an idiot for that pick.
I mean, I know a lot of really smart people that were on the Tafon side. I wouldn't beat yourself up about it. That was always Oldberg's win condition.
Mushroom up. I'm still doing Lambo Friday. Like, easy, bud. I'm still doing the Lambo place. I'm doing it. But Billy and I are going to have a great show. I'm really excited for that. Guys, have a wonderful night. Good luck with your bets. I'll be back Thursday for the Bet Elevator, 6 p.m. on this channel with Couch Warrior and special guest Whiz Bets. Doing a nice little guest spot. And then Friday, I got Monk for the happy hour. And my guest on Friday, John, is Zaid. So don't think I'm not going to rub in that I now have the lead.
Absolutely.
Guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a great night. Go check out Weezy later. Goodbye.